Awesome. That's the teamwork. And so, yes, Zuko, um, just to bring you up to speed, the theme of this call is Zcash war stories. So
Yay!
over the past, yeah, as as survivors. So over the past 4 years, Zcash has been under significant pressure from every conceivable angle you could imagine. So there was regulatory pressure. If
Mhm.
some of you could recall the tornado cash issues, um, and yeah, we were also under a literal network attack
Mhm.
through sandblasting. There is several shielded transactions with multiple outputs, which was increasing the requirements, like power requirements or processing requirements for mobile wallets. And so, yeah, wallets suffered for a while. And also, like on the social layer as well, uh, like we came under significant stress, like as community members. And so, yeah, we're going to go into each of these points and I suppose share some wisdoms on how Zcash was able to pull through. Yeah, Paku.
Uh, I don't see my hand up. If that's what you were calling me up. Um,
Okay.
so this application has some problems with its Boolean state. Are probably typical bugs. Let's see if I can fix it.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you see it? Is my hand up?
it's down.
Okay, fixed it.
Cool. So, we're going to start in the deep end with a question for Zuko. If you could explain, what is Zcash?
Zcash is like Bitcoin but encrypted. But I mean that in a positive way. Bitcoin is good and Zcash is good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. That works. So Bitcoin, but encrypted. And yeah, I suppose we could go into a bit of detail on the differences between Zcash and Bitcoin. Um, but who is it for, and what can you use it for?
Zcash is for everyone. Wait, am I still speaking?
Yes.
Zcash is for everyone because privacy is normal and everyone should be able to make their own decisions and just be a normal assumption that there's nobody else that you didn't invite who is like spying on you or intervening in your actions. That's just true for all humans.
Thank you. And so, yeah, if you did want to try Zcash, you should download Zashi app. Check it out on any one of the app stores, and maybe at the end of this call, you'll be able to try out some Zcash transactions. Um, so yeah, we should probably start at something at the beginning. Um, One of the issues that was present in Zcash was something called the trusted setup, and so yeah, perhaps we've got Sean on the call. Could you explain what the trusted setup is, why it was necessary? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Can you hear me? Just checking.
Yes.
Hello? Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So, well, the crazy math that we use in Zcash, zero knowledge proofs. We have to use zero knowledge proofs to make our project to make our transactions private, to make them like as private as they need to be. Um, and this crazy math at the time when we launched Zcash, 9 years ago, the people who created Zcash and the scientists that were behind the company, the electric coin company, um, who had developed and came up with some of the science involved, um, they had found a way to build these zero knowledge proofs efficiently for our use in Zcash, and uh, the only way to do it at the time that we knew was to use a setup where somebody had to create these parameters that everybody in the system used, not to protect their privacy, importantly. It wasn't for privacy reasons. It was just to keep the system sound so that people could send transactions without counterfeiting money or breaking the rules or anything like that. And so if whoever set up these parameters, kept the secrets that were used to create it, because they were structured in a certain way, that kept those secrets, then they could not violate anyone's privacy, but they could counterfeit coins. So we had to come up with a kind of elaborate little ceremony where we could distribute the trust assumption to multiple parties so that you could have, let's say, in the first ceremony that we did for the launch of Zcash, 6 people who collaboratively construct the parameters in such a way that all of them would have to have been compromised. And so we did that, and that was kind of a first ceremony of its kind. And a lot of other trusted setups happened after that. Notably, we did one a couple years after that, which was much larger, that involved like hundreds of participants. That was also a lot more secure, and ended up being used by a lot of projects in like Ethereum and a bunch of other places later on. Even to this day, they're still doing trusted setups for stuff like that. Like the other day, I think somebody was doing a trusted setup for Citria or something. But so there's a main problem with trusted setups, is that even if you make them really robust and make them really strong, you still have to convince people that they ever took place, and you still have to, I don't, you still have to like explain them to people, and you still have to justify them. And although in our initial launch we needed them in order to make these proofs work, the science has evolved since then. And thanks in part to like the researchers that started Zcash, and also the team at Electric Coin Company, I helped with a lot of this too. And so then thanks to academics that came up with all sorts of other great ideas, we were able to come up with a way to actually get rid of the trusted setup in Zcash. And so,
Like, add a comment, Sean.
yeah, sure.
I like to say the trustless zero knowledge proofs like we have today, thanks to you, largely to you, they're mathematically verifiable. You can give someone a math textbook and a proof, and they can verify that the proof is correct. The trusted setups are not. You have to give them a math textbook and a proof, and also like a history textbook, so they can reason about what happened back in the day. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Trustless
That's a good
setups
way
are
of describing it.
verifiable using nothing but math.
Thanks. Yes, that was a good explanation. And so, yeah, when comparing like Zcash with other privacy protocols, this is an important consideration. Like how much trust are you putting into that system? Yeah, that was a great answer. So instead of, I've just decided that instead of going chronologically, maybe we could do like a non-linear sync. So, Josh, are there any? Yeah, what would you say are some of the challenges that Zcash has overcome over the past 4 years? What would the major challenge, in your opinion, be?
Oh gosh, where do I start? A huge one. It was just the complexity of the user experience. So because the cryptography was so novel, it was very difficult to use at the beginning. And so to send a shielded transaction, you had to have a pretty heavy duty laptop, and it took, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes or something like that to create a proof. So that was tough, right? Because then more people were using transparent addresses, and then there was kind of these narratives that are out there about the usage and that kind of thing. And so it's been a grind to finally get it to a place where it's super fast and usable. And again, like thanks to folks like Bowe, other people at ECC, like figuring out how to make them performant was a big one. The cryptography also, because it was so novel, there was like a counterfeiting vulnerability in the first iteration. And that's a whole journey. That's a whole story in and of itself. Um, so those have been big ones. And then, uh, yeah, maybe I'll just stop there. But those are a couple of the bigger challenges.
Yeah, like making it usable is a big one. So yeah, there was the sandblasting, or otherwise known as a spam attack on the Zcash network. I think it started just after the NU5 upgrade. So this was when those trustless, verifiable proofs were activated for people. So if you've seen the big green chart, which is rocketing upwards, that's Orchard, and that's what was activated in NE5. But shortly afterwards, yeah, as I mentioned before, there was like several transactions on the network and mobile wallets um like ceased to function for a few months. Maybe we've got Paco on the call. Could you explain what were some of the challenges? What had to be done um, to resolve this kind of problem? Yeah.
Hey, yeah, nice memories. Um, well, yeah, we had a lot of issues with the sandblasting. In the wallet side, it there were many, um, but the most important, um, there were some that um we at the wallet team could actually improve, and we improved a lot of things. Like we started to analyze. Imagine that you're in London during the World War II, and bombs are, you know, falling from the skies, and you have to actually sit down quietly and analyze this thing to be able to solve the problem and stop the bombing. So that was like the mood that uh the developers at ECC were into. So that's how we were actually working in the trenches. It was really tough. But basically, what we had to do is to sit down, um, shut shut the noise, try to isolate from the really really loud noise, um, and try to figure what were the bottlenecks and what could we do quickly that would maximize the results of the optimizations. In this kind of problem spaces, the Pareto rule is king. Like there is a 20% of the problems that explains the 80% of the symptoms. So we like everyone was like head down and trying to figure out where were those issues. And for example, in the wallet part, we started to change the way we were like dealing with uh IO and like dealing with saving things to disk, how much data we were saving, in which order we were scanning and downloading things to try to make it as light as possible because like cell phones were filling up. Um, I remember that one of my cell phones was ruined because it heated up so hard when we were syncing that its battery kind of like bloated. Fortunately, the phone didn't explode or anything like that, but that was like the kind of stress that the devices were subject to, and we didn't want that to happen to our users. So we were really focused on that, and then the core team was um working really hard to find a way to like very quickly and as quickly as possible to deal with spend before sync, so you could actually have spendable nodes before going through the whole sandblasting that inevitably you would have to in order to have your full wallet. And that was a lot of work, and eventually we got it, and people were able to start to recover their wallets without using filters because some other wallets that really championed and helped the ecosystem thrive, like Y Wallet, um, used a lot of like heuristics to actually dodge the sandblasting and navigate through this muddy waters, and sand and bombs falling from the sky. But there were some things that had problems where people wouldn't see all their funds. So there were a lot of things that will have to be done. But I think that um, those those things were the things that the wallet team focused on, and fortunately we got through it. Um, and I think that the lesson to me is that we we need to make our tooling more interoperable. Um, I think that one of the regrets I I have as like ecosystem developer now, I wasn't an ecosystem developer then, but for example, Y Wallet was a solution and was what was the wallet that got the ecosystem running at critical times, but it also unfortunately its code was not pluggable to other wallets. And I think that if our code was more interoperable, we could have collaborated better, and we could have like gotten out uh faster from the sandblasting. So that's a lesson from the past that I think that we are actually applying in the present.
Squirrel, did you describe
Yeah.
what the sandblasting was, like in layman's terms?
I think so. Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah. If people don't know, I mean, essentially, there was somebody developed a script. Have some suspicions on where it came from, but somebody developed a script, and this it was like super cheap. It was like cost of maybe $10 a day, a cup of coffee, something. You could create all of these transactions because there wasn't any kind of a fee market in Zcash, and so it was just all of the it's less than a penny to send a transaction. Um, Not getting into the weeds in terms of outputs or things like that. But if you look at the transaction graph during that time, there's just like a massive amount of transactions that occurred on the chain. It was funny because I was thinking about it as you know a bug, and it was actually Zooko. Zooko was like, well, it's actually the way that it was designed, right? So we didn't anticipate or expect somebody to write a script and do that, and so it's like really important as we think about designing these protocols that people can rely on for their money, that we're thinking about all the edge cases in different ways that it can be used kind of against the protocol itself, so that it's resilient against attackers who are trying to take it down.
Yeah, I think that I recall that once we thought there was a legitimate use, and then there were some changes um, to improve the user experience, and we saw that the this influx of transactions, I think they were um, going to the Archer pool, and then they switched to another pool, um, and then we kind of suppose that, well, if somebody is making a legitimate use of this, why would they switch to um, a part of the use of a protocol that has the problem? Like they're persistently and consistently wanting to have the problem, so probably it's not legitimate use.
Yeah,
Um,
some of us, I don't think ever thought it was legitimate use. I know there was some debate at that point,
Yeah.
but it was like such a massive spike, and you could see the performance. And somebody's not going to be incentivized to like deal with that performance degradation. Um, if they're just trying to do a one-time thing. But yeah, I caused all kinds of. To your point earlier, I love the metaphor that you used about being bombed and having to sit down and think quietly and intelligently about how to respond. But that was not a fun time. This is like, this whole conversation is giving me PTSD.
Yes.
Yes.
And so, yeah, for the audience, just imagine this: like the mobile wallets aren't functioning. You've got the developers racking their heads trying to figure out how to fix this issue. And personally, I attended all of the R&D meetings, and I could see the level of effort that went into solving this. Um, it's a lengthy process, and yeah, so the idea for Zip 317 came, and then it had to go to the zip editors, and it came back, and there were some adjustments, and then it went back to the zip editors, and then it had to go to the wallets. Um, and so you really need to understand like the level of cohesion that was necessary to get through this. At the same time, the community projects were trying to help people um, like import seeds to different wallets, and yeah, it gives me PTSD as well to some extent, but I am also very proud of um like us as a whole.
Yeah, I think that the one thing that the Z317 was a really nice, like, cypherpunk story. Um, mo Parts of it were written during DEF CON. It was 30th, or yeah, which one was it? Um, and then this is one of the examples where you have to be very careful when you try to solve something, and you may end up introducing another problem. So Zig 317 has the virtue of, like, being a solution to a very important problem, but also maintaining the privacy uh, properties of a protocol, and making a fee structure that won't also use fees to maybe tag or pinpoint somebody. Like, if you have custom fees, or if you have a wallet that does fees in a certain way, and then you have another one that does fees in another way, then by the shape of the fees, then you can tell who's using which wallet. So Zip 317 was designed to both, like, address the problems of sandblasting with some kind of, like, fee structure, but also being carefully designed to make your wallet safe, and that you won't be tailgated because you're putting some fee that it's making you identifiable, at least in the kind of wallet you're using when you're creating that transaction. So it was a really good piece of, like, specification that was really worked on, while every user was legitimately um like, concerned, and like, probably cursing on us, and with, I I think they had all the right to be mad. um and yeah, so it was a good example of a zip, and engineering skills, and all endurance.
For sure. And just to compound all of this, whilst the wallets are fighting through these issues, there's also this regulatory pressure at the same time. And so, yeah, maybe Jason, if you could elaborate for the audience what
Oh,
happened
yeah.
with Binance. Yeah,
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. But before, um, just on the spam attack, one thing that I wanted to say is that these sorts of attacks could still happen today. And the good thing is if it did, it wouldn't take as long to address as it previously did because we just need to manually increase the base fee in ZIP 317. But also I wanted to mention that Shielded Labs is working on a dynamic fee mechanism that would protect it against, like, dramatic increases in transaction activity or future spam attacks. And basically the way it works is with dynamic fees, they automatically adjust transaction fees based on network demand. So they rise when blocks are full, they fall when activity declines. So this helps prevent congestion and spam, and it ensures that at least some transactions can still be processed smoothly um, during times of congestion.
Super
Um,
interesting.
Yeah, so then you asked about the Binance issue, and I can talk a little bit about that. So in late 2023, Binance reached out and said that ZEC would be delisted unless deposits to the exchange could be restricted to come only from transparent addresses. And basically, from their end, they wanted to ensure that all incoming funds were traceable for compliance purposes and did not originate from a shielded address. And we had months of discussion where we discussed whether or not we wanted to try to come up with a solution or just, take the L and get delisted. And Han, who is an awesome community developer, proposed a technical solution called text addresses, which is like a re-encoding of existing transparent addresses that signals wallets to send only transparent funds. And so this change met Binance's compliance requirements, and it didn't require altering the Zcash protocol or comprising any of its like privacy preserving features, and it allowed ZEC to remain listed. Um, for the Zcash ecosystem, it took significantly longer to implement and caused, for example, ECC's engineering team to focus resources on text implementation rather than other priorities. So that was not a good thing. And I think if this were to happen now, we probably wouldn't have made the change and allowed finance to delist us. But the main difference between 2023 and now is that, back then we didn't have near intents and we didn't have my protocol decks. And most of the trading volume that happened at Binance. And for many Zcashers all over the world in places like Latin America, Asia, Africa, Binance was really the only place they could acquire Zcash. So, I think things were a bit different at that point in time.
Yeah. And yeah, Alex, you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the kind of regulatory pressure conversation because I don't think it's well known that like what we went through a couple of years ago, kind of waking up every day to see, which of our accounts could we access, like where was today's pressure, where do we need to like build out our risk management processes, more so we have second, third, fourth options in case, something happened on the regulatory side. Which ultimately we were successful and as Jason said, now there's all these other options that didn't exist at the kind of darkest moments of dealing with these challenges. And it took away, some of our focus. It certainly made it so, literally every single day we were taking action to ensure that the Zcash Foundation and other orgs in the ecosystem were able to continue forward and do their work. It was a tough time, like everybody mentioning like PTSD. Just thinking back to the days when we would get a notice and have to respond to something from our bank or some other partner with just nonsensical questions and things that we were like, you got to be kidding me. Like the complete lack of understanding of what the Zcash Foundation is up to and what Zcash in general, means and the work we're doing was a huge challenge. And we certainly aren't out of the woods completely yet. Like I'd like to acknowledge, Paul Brigner and JW Verrett and others doing great work in DC on behalf of Zcash. And so we're not waking up every day without those same concerns. But today, as we work on risk management and we ensure the long-term viability and longevity of the foundation, we have so many other options and so many other off ramps and so many other ways to work around whatever challenges we run into. And again, that's like a huge credit to all the developers in the ecosystem. We've just become so much more resilient in a really short time frame if you think about it. So yeah, kudos. And like again, these pressures aren't over with, but they've changed and they don't feel quite as like literally daily immediate as they had in the past.
Definitely. And yeah, that Binance situation, to my memory, was kind of when the community put their foot down and said, we're going to commit to full decentralization in every aspect. Um, yeah, Jason.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I agree. Yeah, I mean, at that point, that's when ZCG made it a priority to like fund Maya protocol. So that was became one of our major priorities.
By the way, if Joel's still in here, big props to you, Joel Valenzuela. Help with my protocol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, and so yeah, this when we were having this Binance delisting fear, yeah, we committed to decentralization, and so work was done towards my protocol. Near Intense came along, and also new organizations. So one of the major criticisms of Zcash is that it's made by a company and it's a company project, and there's a CEO of Zcash. Um, but actually now there's several organizations, Shielded Labs being independently funded, so it does not receive any block rewards, and they're working at building Zcash. Um, and also the Financial Privacy Foundation. So yeah, maybe Alex, could you kind of explain how this sort of jurisdictional decentralization um, helps towards resilience?
Yeah, sure. So good kind of segue from what I was talking about. So one of the things we did is create FPF. ZF funded it initially. That's the extent of like the official relationship between the two orgs. And FPF, like basically we looked at 14 different jurisdictions around the world to see where would be best place to have a independent foundation that could serve both as a kind of exit hatch if we needed to have an offshore jurisdiction we needed to like basically start using as a primary org, and at the same time using it to provide support to people like ZecHub and ZCG who are unincorporated groups. Excuse me, ZecHub's not an unincorporated group, but helping ZecHub move some things forward like bounty payments, and utilizing the structure and the organization of FPF to basically experiment, do some interesting things, and provide support in ways that couldn't really be provided by other orgs. And so far, it's worked really well. Like really excited being able to support ZCG really directly, and ZecHub, and a little bit of support for ZK Club as well. I'd love to see FPF keep growing. I'd love to see it continue to grow the board, grow the services that are provided, and just keep providing a more decentralization outside of the United States. I think there's a lot of room for growth. I think what Shield Labs is doing and has done and the way they've gone about things is fantastic and has really added to the decentralization of Zcash. But there's still a lot more we can do, and I think FUF could certainly play a role in that. Plus, jurisdictions evolve. So, currently FPF is in Cayman. Cayman is has historically and continues to be an extremely crypto friendly jurisdiction. There are others in the world that are also friendly, and with different regimes, with different law changes, things shift, and so we're continually paying attention to what's happening outside of the United States. And maybe in the future there'll be an opportunity to spin up another org that is able to provide some niche, support. But they're the world's a big place, and we're very much focused in many ways in the United States. I think it's fantastic the work ZecHub and ZCG have done to foster community groups to help continue growing Zcash to every corner of the world. And the same thing goes for where our orgs are, where our major orgs are what their jurisdictions are, and like
there's just, there's a whole world out there we could potentially kind of grow into in multiple different ways, but in this specific way where we could take advantage of more friendly jurisdictions and, just continue to help and support the growth of Zcash for everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, and yeah, just also like to point out a lot of contributions come from anon developers and independent people just trying to help Zcash. A notable one is Leakbytes, who did the Orchard integration for BTC Pay. And so now you can do things like pay for NimVPN using shielded Zcash. And yeah, we even received like GitHub contributions from Bitcoin developers whilst we were under these kind of pressures. So we've gone through the worst of it. We can almost see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it was kind of at this time where integration started to happen. So we talked earlier about this ECC mobile SDK that was being built and could be used by other wallets. And yeah, we had a major partnership with Brave. I think it was Brave and ECC and Filecoin Foundation. So Josh, maybe explain like towards integrations, the integrations in Zashi, and kind of how working with other projects really strengthened Zcash.
Yeah, so it's been a focus of ECC's really in earnest since the beginning of 2014, is to build a fully integrated stack, kind of a system outside of the old system, but could still integrate, recognizing that we're not going to build everything here. So, much of the Web3 is smart contracts. We don't have smart contracts on Zcash, nor do we need to, like, in my opinion, others may have other opinions, but my opinion was we don't need to like try to build everything. But we do need access to these dexes. People need access around the world, and they need to be able to do it in a way that, it's simple enough for a normie to be able to quickly download an app and use it and have financial privacy. So when Near decided to really, focus, started working with them very early on with the folks at Near Intense as they were kind of building out that capability for Zcash, and so we integrated, and so we've integrated a few things. So we started with Flexa. We integrated with Coinbase. Coinbase is kind of on pause for right now, may come back, but so with Flexa, you can spend to thousands of retailers, but again, it's very geographically constrained, so it's not for everybody everywhere. But Maya is, and that was like a massive unlock. So we've already seen, to date, we're getting upwards to 100 million in US dollar terms of transactions through Zashi, which has been fantastic. We get, you can swap into ZEC, you can swap out of ZEC, and then you have this ability to pay cross chain, and that gives you the freedom to keep your wealth shielded, encrypted, and then be able to spend anywhere that accepts crypto or swap to any change that it supports. And we'll be adding more. The challenge is like continuing to add like these unlocks for the community without creating complexity in the user experience. And that can be so like surprising. People think it's maybe trivial, but to protect privacy and to kind of think about these edge cases and what are the trade-offs, and but how do we give people options? It's a lot of work. And we have to look at it from the full stack, from the wallet all the way down to the protocol.
Thanks, Josh. And so yeah, I have to point out, like, when I first started working within the Zcash ecosystem, I was building or writing documentation for something called the Zec Hub Wiki. And one of the first things I was writing was the library. So I was just making a list of terms used within Zcash. And so, yeah, one of the first things I put in this library, I think you could go to zechub.wiki/glossary-and-facts, and you'll see the Zcash library. And at the top is the Zcash mission. And it was written by Zooko in January of 2016. Highly encourage you everyone in the audience to read that. We think of like why Zcash survived all these years, all the things that happened to it, and even though there were like differences of opinion on either protocol things or community things or regulatory things, I think what held the project together was the mission. We all had something in common, and it was this mission we felt was just like non-negotiable, right? Um, yeah, I had to point that out. But yeah, we kind of explained how Zcash survived, and so maybe we can invite people from the audience to come up. Can we do that, Zcash? Yes, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, there was one other thing that an obvious one that I wanted to call out, and that was like the low, long-lasting price of ZEC was like a major factor, right? And I saw this tweet about capitulation the other day, and it said there's two forms of capitulation. There's capitulation of price and capitulation of time. And like seeing the price go from $850 down to $20 from like 2017 to 2020 was tough, and then having that happen again from 370 or something to $20 between 2021 and 2024 was just brutal. But like what really hurt was like the capitulation of time, and the price stayed low for many years. And it hurt the core orgs and hurt development and morale, caused organizations to have to restructure. A lot of developers left for other opportunities. But I think there's like a good group of Zcashers, like you said, Squirrel, that are relentless, like, resilient, mission driven, sort of here for the right reasons, and kept building despite, um, the bear market and limited funding, because we knew of the potential of what we're building. And then after a while, everything changed. Like, others started to catch on that privacy is important, and things turned around. And now we can see like price is sort of like this reflexive dynamic that drives everything else. And, it's sort of building momentum, in the form of like new Zec holders, more interest in participating as a Zcash developer, tons of positive sentiment on social media like Twitter. Um, and yeah, even Zec as a viable, like realistic alternative to Bitcoin. So that's all very cool.
Hey, we've got Joel on the stage. Hello.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks for having me up. I did a marathon 3-hour podcast with Shield and Mark earlier on all of the stuff. But I just have to say, congrats on 9 years. That's a long time. And I have a feeling that a lot of the crypto projects that are going to last are the ones who've already been here a while. There's a lot of things that in the early days we can't really get away with as well with newly launched projects today, such as not having some massive VC raise or some kind of centralization in the SEC crosshairs kind of a vibe. And also, a lot of the older projects just don't make it super long. They don't evolve. And just seeing how many things are going on in Zcash right now is very impressive. And yeah, just congrats for the success.
Thanks, Joel. And yeah, like, I mean, thank you on so many different levels. There's this thought I had um earlier today, which was on like survival of the fittest through natural selection, right? So when you think of like I don't know, early humans in the savannah, um, they weren't the fittest animal on the savannah, right? There was cheetahs and lions and like leopards, right? Uh, but I think the reason why humans survived is because they had language. They were able to communicate as a group, um, and plan things. And yeah, I think when projects, especially crypto projects, try to like become maximalists of themselves and say I'm the best and everything else is rubbish, then like I think that leads to downfall. Whereas it's the projects which invite others from different communities and work together. I think that's why why humans survived. Yeah, Jason. Did you have your hand up? Okay, no. Zuko, you've been quiet for a while. Anything to add here?
What I wanted to add was when Jason was saying now that the price turned around, we see the reflexivity, we see how price drives a bunch of other stuff. I wanted to add that's why one of Jason's and my principles at Shielded Labs was honor the holders, because they're the real source of all this other improvement.
And towards that, there is now coin holder voting on Zcash. So if you hold Zcash, you can have a say in what is developed or what should be retroactively funded, right? So I think we are now in registration period. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason.
That's correct.
Us
Yeah,
until-
it started yesterday, and it lasts until I believe the 10th at 11:59 p.m. UTC, and then the actual poll to vote on the proposals will be November 13th. And so one thing I think we need to do, because we have so many new holders, is Dan, you and I should maybe put out a post via the Zcash Twitter and sort of explain to people how to register their coins and also walk them through how to like cast a vote, because I think there's still a lot of friction there. But it'd be good to maximize. Last time we had one of these coin holder polls, there were 1.5 million coins that were voted. There's now, I think, close to 5 million coins in orchards. So hopefully we can like, double that.
I mean, we've got cross organizational coordination happening in a community called like Zcashes are built different. Was there anyone else in the audience who wanted to come up and mention something?
I'll say something. I'm just like completely making this up as I go. Because I wanted to say something positive, because positive things are cool. Right now, a lot of really great things are happening in Zcash. I'm really optimistic. Um, so I wanted to think of, while I'm kind of yapping, it would be cool if everyone else tried to think of something positive and fun and awesome and optimistic about the future, or about the last 4 years that's really like encouraging, or like a favorite moment you had. Like, what's something you worked on that really uh, had a huge impact on the project, or that you enjoyed working on, or something like that. I'll think the one thing I can think of just randomly. There's like a million things I can think of, but um, earlier this year I got a message from Jack Gavigan at Zcash Foundation, and he wanted me to do a talk at ZCon 6. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess he really wanted me to do the talk. So I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll do the talk. And I had been sort of doing scaling research just on my own independently. I still am. And I hadn't really come up with any kind of like major architectural discoveries, or any kind of like a plan or anything like that yet at that point. But I was kind of frustrated because I was going to go and do a talk at ZCon 6 without having any like interesting things to say or anything to do. So in order to reverse engineer having something compelling to say in the talk, I came up with the whole plan behind Tachyon and to do the talk so that I wouldn't look like a fool at ZCon 6. So peer pressure is really, really strong. So yeah, that's my story. That's my positive outlook on things. It's just that's my war story, I guess you could say.
Great idea to turn it positive. I just got to jump in and say there's a lot of new people here, and a lot of people might not know that we brought zero knowledge proofs into the world in 2016, and we were the first community and project to make zero knowledge proofs possible on smartphones in 2018, both of which Sean played a huge role in. And we're the first people to discover trustless and recursion capable zero knowledge proofs. And we're the first, I assume, probably the first blockchain that has a degree of resilience against quantum computers, and more and more and more. I'll just shut up because there's probably a lot of other people who have a lot of other positive experiences. No, one more thing. I've gotten so many shielded love notes and sent so many shielded love notes. A lot of people probably don't know that Zcash is the blockchain that has hosted more marriage proposals and marriage vows and things like that. It's just so much amazing, beautiful stuff here. Next.
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I'm so stoked to be talking like on this panel and all these awesome people have been around, OGs from day one. Like I've been here for 4.5 years, 4 a little over 4 years as COO at ZF, and like to see the growth and just we've come so far in such a short period of time, but it still to me feels like we're just getting started. Like we have an entire world to conquer. And there's so many people who desperately need what we can provide. And the ecosystem to me feels aligned. It feels like we're all rowing in the same direction. We all want the same things. We're not always all going to, agree on the direction or, what comes next, but fundamentally we are all completely aligned. And I one thing I think back to is in Barcelona, Josh and I had a very long conversation about humanitarian aid, and how Zcash could factor into making life better for so many people around the world. And, a few years later, we were able to launch the Shielded Aid initiative, which ZF is currently working on. And a lot of the kind of momentum for that like came from that conversation. And I think about it often. So thanks, Josh. You had a role in kind of us revisiting that and getting it launched. But like that's one example of so many different things that I've been inspired by and ZF's been inspired by. And like I said, it feels like we're just getting started. And I have a feeling, most everybody on this call who's been around a bit feels exactly the same way.
Thanks, Alex. That was great. Yeah, I think I'll go very quickly. So I work on ZCurb, and we invite people from all around the world to contribute to Zcash. And so I'm proud of what everyone has contributed to Zcash. Like, I feel really good when someone new comes along and they have this awesome skill, like they can make motion graphics, or they're like really good researchers, um, or they're developers. So that chart with the shielded supply was worked on by several different people around the world. And yeah, like that kind of thing is what inspires me, is new Zcaches. Yeah, Jason had something. Okay, he's put his hand down. Josh?
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, there were two things that I wanted to mention that I think are positive. One is there was a period in time where relationships between the different organizations were pretty bad, and I think that that is no longer the case. There's great collaboration between ECC, ZF, Shielded Labs, and other contributors. Josh, Alex, and I have regular calls, and yeah, it's been super positive. Second thing is personal, and that was when I first started Shielded Labs, it was quite scary because I didn't know what the hell I was going to do or how I was going to get funding. And, it's like a very daunting thing to do to start a new org, but I felt like it was needed for both decentralization in terms of development and also geographical decentralization, given a lot of like the regulatory pressure in the US. But all that sort of laid out really well. I mean, we've got an awesome team that's doing great work and super proud of it. So I encourage other people to, think about starting their own um, organization or project focused on Zcash.
So something I was just
Oh, sorry.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut in my Baku.
Oh, okay. Well, my positive note, sorry if I go a bit long. I couldn't help thinking about Lukash's. Lukash is an amazing developer who's building constantly the magic that you see when you open your Sashi app in an iPhone. Um, and Lukash posted this graphic, like this graph of the price action auction of Zec when he joined ECC, and now, and there was this, you know, deep valley, or like deep canyon like figure there where the price action was tanking and very very low, and then it was up again, and it was like his redemption arc of some sort. And I said, the we were building the foundations, we were underground building the foundations of a big thing. um and then I can't avoid say that um I think I'm very very lucky to have joined this ecosystem kind of like 6 years ago, 6 years and a month ago, I guess, I think, um, or 2 months, 6 years and 2 months, and it's it's so, I'm so fortunate and grateful of, like, even in the worst times, of the sandblasting and all the things I talked about before, there was not a single day where I wouldn't wake up um feeling that I was very happy to log in to my computer and get to work with people I admire, that with great people, with honest people, with people that are mission driven to make this world better. And even in the worst times, in the saddest times, I got that feeling, and that's really not the norm. Privacy is not normal, but in IT, um, that's not the norm. So I'm really really lucky to be here and to work with you all. And today, 6 years after I joined the ecosystem, every day I wake up. Um, Probably I have Telegram messages from all over the world that I answer, and then I log into my computer and work with the best people, with these great people. And if you're new, if you just joined, you're not late to the party. As uh, someone said before, we're just getting started. There are so many things that need to be built. There are so many things that need to be communicated. Um, there. I don't know, if you're a songwriter. There are songs to be sung. Uh, anything that you can bring to the Zcash ecosystem will bring value. So you're not late to the party. I think you're getting the party's just getting started. So don't be intimidated um, because of being new or not knowing or the lore, or just come in. There's a lot of new people. We welcome you all. Um, Join the party, um, and let's make privacy normal, and let's take Zcash everywhere.
Oh, I love it. Yes. And I've just remembered that I still owe you 0.5 Zekpaku. And every time we get on a call, it's even more.
Well, this I'm looking at the server that is really expensive now. And it's just a little gray computer from China. But I'm really happy that um like my NIM VPN, like I paid so much for it. now that I realized. But it's great to use your set. So I have no regrets.
Yeah, something that would be really cool is like liberated payments. So me and Paku played a game of pool, and like we agreed the winner would get 0.5 ZEC. But what if there was a way that I could send him a message on Signal and he could claim that ZEC? Um, I think it's doable. So anyone, any devs in the chat interested in building that, please do. Josh, you had something a while back. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I was gonna say a little bit earlier. By the way, Paco totally resonates. Like that, I get to just work on this project is the most amazing honor of my life. It's like such an important cause, and what we're building is so consequential. I can't imagine doing anything else. It's like thank you to Zooko for hiring me in the first place, but it's like totally wrecked my life. I'm not hireable. I don't think anywhere else.
Me too. I'm so lucky. Thank you for being part of it.
Yes. But the coolest thing for me, like recently, is actually like probably a bunch of people on the call. Because you guys are shielding your ZEC in non-custodial wallets. Because you don't have custody options for shielded ZEC. And we've seen that shielded pool grow from kind of the slow growth over time to just this exponential amount of growth that we have seen in the pool. Which it means people are like actually adopting, right? It's not vaporware. It's not just speculation where somebody's sitting on an exchange and trading, candles. But you're actually storing your wealth. And it's the greatest thrill every day to take a look at that shielded pool. And we're going to hit 5 million here. I think it was, I don't know, 60,000 away this morning. So amazing. And that's just been super fun for me to see.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I'm gonna kick it back to the audience. Anyone interested in coming up and asking questions? I see Paku's hand up.
No, it's not.
Okay. Yes. Anyone interested to come up and say happy birthday? We've got Roosevelt.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hi. Yeah. Happy birthday. I'm very happy. I'm proud to be part of this family of Zcashers. I only have 3 years and a half inside this amazing ecosystem. I'm very grateful. And you guys are amazing. You, Josh, Jason, Zuko, Squirrel, this Matt. A lot of you guys are amazing. Please keep developing, keep teaching, keep pushing. I'm really proud to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Roosevelt. And for any Spanish speakers, Espanol, follow Zcash Espanol and follow Zcast. Is it Zcast ESP?
Yes. A lot of 1 hour ago, we start a space in the Zcash in Spanish too, celebrating about our happy birthday. Yeah, I'm here in Barcelona. If some of you are here and want to contact me to make something, to teach, to make an event, I'm really excited to help.
Thanks, Roosevelt. And we've got Madison. Hello.
Hello, everybody, and buenos dias, Roosevelt. Good to hear your voice.
Hello.
Admittedly, I've been touching grass a lot over the past 6 months because I moved to New Zealand. But it's been such a wild ride these last couple months. I'm actually working on a graphic for Edge Wallet. For those of you who don't know, I'm the graphic and UX designer over at Edge Wallet, and we do a privacy press once a month, and we report on the prices of all of our privacy assets. And I've just been editing this graphic every month, just watching the numbers go up, and it's been awesome, and the community is electric. And I just totally want to echo what Paku said. It's such a cool community, the Zec community. I've done tons of events, went to ZCon 4, and then I've also hosted the Zec team at the Edge office, and every single time I'm just blown away by the people in this community. Totally mission driven. The ethos is strong, and I think just knowing that everybody is working on something with such a strong ethical boundary or barrier, it really brings together a really cool group of individuals, and I'm really happy to be a part of that. So, yeah, happy birthday, Zcash. I'd still love to do a Zcash mural somewhere in the world. If somebody has a wall or a business that has some high traffic that you can let me paint on, I'm definitely interested in doing that at some point. So, um, yeah, good to see everybody and hear everybody's voices.
Thanks, Madison. Yeah, Edge Wallet is pretty cool. Um, it's very privacy focused. I think it has like every privacy coin, Firo on there, and Monero and Dash, and yeah, everyone try it out. You can go to I don't know the exact link, but go to zechub.wiki/wallets, and you'll see all of the wallets that support Zcash. And yeah, was there anyone else who wanted to come up? If nobody wants to come up, I'm gonna ask Sean to explain Tachyon for the 1,000th time.
Oh no, please don't. Please don't do this to me.
I need another lesson.
Right, yeah, I know. You haven't figured it out yet.
On my podcast.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna be on Joel's podcast next week. Sorry to ruin your surprise, but yeah. I'll talk all about Tachyon for 3 hours.
Nice. Looking forward to it. Hey, Els, how's it going?
Hi, is it everyone? I just wanted to say happy birthday, Zcash, and I just wanted to say how welcoming and warm the family is here on Zcash, and really, it's really nice to hear from everyone. Really nice to hear from Zuko, Josh, Sean, Jason, the entire team. It's really, really nice to hear from everybody here, and yeah, I'm just here all the way from Nigeria to say happy birthday, Zcash. And yeah.
Thank you.
Hi,
If
everybody.
anyone is unaware, Els is
Happy
sorry,
birthday, Zcash.
Rob. I miss you.
Hi. Yeah, happy birthday, Zcash. Zcash in español is very happy to the new anniversary to Zcash. And CK Radio on fire, on air, in the all activities to the anniversary to Zcash. Así que, new happy birthday, Zcash.
Yes, you can.
Yes. Hi everyone. I'm Michael from Zcash Brazil. I just want to thank you for the opportunity. We are going to 4 years in the Zcash community. We have created so many things and so beautiful things in the whole community. And I'm very happy about that. For those who don't know, our community and I have created the Zcash Discord server from scratch, for example. But that's for everyone, so just join. And yeah, Zcash have changed lives in Brazil. So thank you, Zooko. Thank you for your work and history and our Zcash community. Happy birthday. Thank you, Zcash Foundation as well, Zcash Community Grants and ACC, Josh, Zach Hub. So everyone is part of that. So community is everything for technology, and technology is change the world.
Hello, guys. Can you guys hear me? I was having my space was glitching out on the host end here as well.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't hear anything for a while.
Okay, we're back. We lost Squirrel. yeah, so maybe we could I'll keep an eye out if Squirrel can rejoin, but maybe some final thoughts. Also thank you guys for coming up to the stage, those that did, and all the happy birthday wishes and great thoughts. But yeah, maybe if some of the speakers who still are on here after that glitch, um any final thoughts on Zcash's 9th birthday?
Happy birthday, Zcash!
Agree.
I just discovered the soundboard.
All right, guys. Yeah, if we I guess we had spaces issues in the beginning and at the end here, but yeah, if nobody else on here, let me see if there's should I bring up some more folks? Do you guys any of the speakers here good to stay on, or should we get it wrapped up?
Oh, I wasn't a party. I'm looking for the applause button on the soundboard. I don't know if anyone can even hear me anymore.
I can hear you. There's the applause.
Found the applause button.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm sorry about the issues here at the end. This was a great space. We touched on some stuff from the past, all the resilience over the years, and some forward-looking things. It was great to hear from community members and all the love and the of people, coming to the space from back in the day, and the new people coming aboard. And I just want to say I appreciate everybody joining. Thanks to the speakers. And happy birthday.
If anybody is curious on ways to get involved or where the Zcash community is, feel free to reach out to, I guess, any of us. And yeah, we'll guide you in the right direction.
Thanks, Jason.